Hello there, thank you so much for joining us on the news desk with me, Amos Zulu. Here are the top stories. President Hichilema wants Saudi Africa Summit to translate into economic benefits. Honey industry to boost economic growth. "17 inmates graduate with degrees." And Kafue constituency celebrates Golden Jubilee. Here is the news in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema is among other heads of state and government attending the inaugural Saudi Africa Summit in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. President Hichilema, who arrived in Saudi Arabia last evening, addressed the summit, calling for partnerships that will create jobs and business opportunities for Africa's youthful population. He said this can be attained by realizing Africa's potential in agriculture, mining, and energy that remains underutilized. Zambia Army Commander Sitali Alivuzi says the Kapirimposhi Army Battle Training Area, which has been a subject of contestation with the local authorities, sits on protected land. Speaking when he led senior officers from the Army Command to pay a courtesy call on Central Province Minister Princess Kasune, Lieutenant General Alivuzi said the land wrangles have raged on for 20 years. He, however, said his team will be engaging the local leadership in Kafue District and Chief Malembeka of the Lamba people in Mpongwe District on the Land Act as enshrined in the Constitution to find an amicable solution to the land impasse. And Central Province Minister Princess Kasune said the prevailing situation is of concern to both the provincial administration and Chief Malembeka. Ms. Kasune said the provincial administration is concerned about the lives of the people and appreciates that the Zambia Army saw it fit to engage the local authority to find a lasting solution which has been elusive for 5 years.
In the land wrangles that we've been facing for quite some time with the local authorities, the authority for control over the land is enshrined in the Act, which we want to go and expose them to, so that we amicably resolve these issues which have been on and off for over a period of 20 years now. And suffice to mention that the place where we sit, Apitalukanga Army Battle Training Area, is a protracted area, and there's an Act of Parliament which governs protected areas, and this is what we want to go to utilize, expose them to the Act so that we amicably resolve the issues.
We are just grateful that you have seen it fit, because lives are at stake. And both His Royal Highness Kamkomba Malembeka and indeed the different headmen and us here at the administration, it's a great concern, because ultimately beyond anything we are concerned about the lives of those people, and so we feel glad and very much appreciative that you have taken this seriously up.
Countries across Africa have made progress with the implementation of the Addis Ababa Declaration on Population and Development and the International Conference on Population and Development Program Agenda. This was revealed during the high-level side event on the margins of the African Population Experts Committee and Population Ministers meeting on the 10-year review of the declaration. Now, Mpundu World Honey Limited Chief Executive Officer Zhang Zaiping says the growth of the honey industry in Zambia will help grow the country's economy. Mr. Zhang, who is attending the China International Import Expo in Shanghai, China, adds that the demand for Zambian honey on the international market is growing. He said this in an interview with China Global Network Television, CGNT, monitored by ZANIS.
With over 30,000 Zambians engaged in beekeeping, The sector has become a lucrative business venture in the country's bid to diversify its copper-dominated economy. Trade experts say honey is the most popular natural sweetener in the world, and the global trade in bee products is worth millions of dollars every year. Mpundu World Honey Limited, a Kafue-based honey processing company, Chief Executive Officer Zhang Jinping, who is attending the China International Import Expo, says the demand for Zambian honey will grow the industry in the country.
It promotes Zambia honey industry, increasing job opportunities and boost local farmers' income, as well as protect the forest. Growing honey sales make local farmers realize that honey is a health and sustainable development product.
And in an interview with CGNT monitored by ZANIS, Zhang adds that China has a huge market for honey and its product.
Into leather, and that is the story of sustainability to combine the food and agriculture industry to the green development. And of course, besides that, we have more Belt and Road Initiative partnership countries to join in this booth, in this pavilion of food and agriculture. And beside me is a wild honey company based in Zambia. And to join me, let's welcome Mr. Zhang to talk to us a little bit more. Welcome to our show to talk to us a little bit more about the wild honey industry in Zambia and his experiences to participate in the CIIE. Mr. Zhang, welcome to our show. How many times have you been participating in the CIIE so far?
I have joined the CIIE for 5 times.
5 times.
Yes, 5
and
times.
what is your expectation for this year's of CIIE?
We joined the expo from first time. We saw the scale of the expo got bigger and better. China has the largest market, trade market in the world. The success of the expo represents China's economic globalization further. This expo is an important exhibition after the market recovery.
Over 1,000 exhibitors from across the globe attended the expo, which comes to a close today. Kelvin Tembo for ZANIS in Kafue, Central Province.
Thank you, Kevin, for that report. And the Chinese government has pledged to invest in the agricultural and tourism sectors in Northern Province. Chinese ambassador to Zambia, Du Xiaohui, has observed that the province has massive potential in agriculture and tourism that can enhance socio-economic development of the region and the country at large. Ambassador Du said this when he called on Northern Province Minister Leonard Dimbao at his office in Kasama. The Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise Development has urged cooperatives to ensure they concentrate on improving the quality of their products if they are to have easy access to markets. Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise Development Permanent Secretary Subeta Mutelo said this would also enable the ministry to connect the cooperatives to international markets.
A multi-purpose cooperative in Kafue District is asking for help with access to markets where it can easily sell its honey products. Speaking when Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise Development Permanent Secretary Subeta Mutelo visited Good Hope Multipurpose Cooperative, which is involved in beekeeping. Group Chairman David Mulea said the cooperative has been failing to find market even after recording a favorable harvest.
Kusombola tulasombola fe bwino nomba hapa liko fe akabwafya ni pamulandu wa marketing yena natukwata uwafi bukulu sana. So hapa tuleranda ino tuleranda twalisombwele ko mu June July ndia twalisombwele ko kuchi almost 1.5 ton, more than 1.5 ton. Uwo kuchi na nomba hapa tatulakwata market bwino opo kuliso.
Ms. Mutelo said that her ministry is ready to connect the cooperative to big markets as long as its product is of high and acceptable quality.
ngapitirira iyakweba production nomba yambo fe kula iswa fe pa principal fe yani mukopa belt ero twaeba nonguwe ko atubadisi imwe mwe baba kuno ku Kalulushi therefore kweba tani abantu balesha ile yako na kukongo taine shimwa cross ama border enchito twakwateya kumibombera okumichita link kuma businesses therefore kweba tili abantu bakula leta hani kufuma kufyalo fimbi twalamba okusuminisha nomba bonza bashane balefa fe kuleta hani kuleta fi nomba mwanga tatumi pekeni ukweba tina imwe mukwate competitive hani it means hani abakalashita muno muchalo bakalashite kalafu makumbi
is the quality of the produce and products and its presentation.
Meanwhile, the permanent secretary also visited Ipulezi Multipurpose Cooperative in Lufonyama District, where she was impressed with the economic venture.
They are into goat farming and they have got 99 goats, and they have got Boer goats and local goats that they are trying to crossbreed. So this cooperative, they have got the initiative of empowering each member.
Mwambile pa 10,000 ukupata 99 goats bambi wale senda nama 1 million natwa ku farming but wale filwa. So it's better we give you who are interested in what you are doing as a cooperative so that we boost your business.
Wope Sendo for ZANIS News in Kalulushi District, Copperbelt Province.
More than 1,600 beneficiaries under the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP in Kasama District have been given authority to collect certificates to redeem their inputs. And Northern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape, who visited selected depots to check on farmers who were getting their inputs, says government is striving to ensure that the distribution of inputs is being done quickly. He urged agro-dealers to put up more redeeming points to help expedite distribution of inputs to farmers.
Farmers in Kasama District have started receiving their inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP. The farmers who were found redeeming their inputs had this to say about this year's distribution procedure. Northern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary, who took time to visit selected depots around the district, has called on agro-dealers to expedite the works.
The government of UPND under his leadership of His Excellency President Takaim, which prioritizes farming, and we cannot let our people that we have contracted to do the work for government to delay the process. So we are here just to ensure that everything begins to move in a better way.
And Kasama District Commissioner Elizabeth Goma has assured farmers that government is addressing their concerns.
Government yali tontonkanyo kwebati tuise tupere abantu besu mufundo gwangu pakwebati abantu besu bapoke fyaikala mu mayanda ekyo kinene ine mule mfuatina mukatama challenges nawe ne twalaikala na mufa badako fo balandaini twalaikala panshi bonse musende tatulefo wakwisa bwerera kuno kuti yayo ino mufundo chimbi chakubalira po bafama mwali mona last year pakufola bambi baleisa mu January lero bale fola ndala mashabo pali bafama pano bashafola abengi bonse bali fola ini so government ili committed kwebati mulingire bonse mulekwate fintu panshite yalinga pakuti mwasta plan.
Understand the congestion, we've got a lot of beneficiaries, yes. And we are striving as an office to clear them, because I've already cleared more than 16,000.
Chibibi Nyongani reporting for ZANIS in Kasama District, Northern Province.
In other news, 17 inmates from the Zambia Correctional Service in Eastern Province have graduated with bachelor's degrees in theology under the support of Impart International School of Ministry. Zambia Correctional Service Regional Commanding Officer Oliver Liseba has commended the graduates for their resilience and determination to transform themselves into better members of society. Take a look at this report by Devson Sakala.
In the recent past, the idea of a prisoner was one to frown upon, but since the transition from the prison service to the correctional service, much investment has been in the transformative rather than punitive efforts. In that light, a total of 48 inmates from the Zambia Correctional Service in Eastern Province have graduated from various trades, and among the notable ones were 17 inmates who graduated with bachelor's degrees in theology. This feat has excited the correctional service in the region.
The service attaches great importance to education and skills training programs because of the many benefits that these programs present, such as reduced recidivism, reduced crime rates, in that inmates involved in these programs become law-abiding citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm particularly informed that for the first time with a huge number of graduates across the country and just here in the Eastern region.
Full of emotion, an inmates representative expressed gratitude to the correctional service.
Today, and it is reality, we have witnessed the graduation of 17 students in theology studies who have obtained degree certificates. These are students who are inmates. Some of them have been written off by their families and they have been forgotten by society. But today, actually, this has shown the transformation of the prison service into the correction facility, because these are people who have been empowered, with knowledge and the wisdom of God to go out there and contribute meaningfully to society and also to our fellow inmates, since we are still saving.
Davison Sakala, for ZANIS, in Chipata District.
The Zambia Federation of Disabilities suffered with support from site savers and the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, CEEC, is conducting a small and medium enterprise clinic for persons with disability. ZAFOD's Programs Officer Stephen Peary says the clinic is aimed at linking persons with disabilities to financial institutions that can help them improve their businesses. And CEEC Public Relations and Communications Manager Michelo Mukata says the Commission has a loan empowerment package aimed at benefiting the marginalized, who include persons living with disabilities.
Persons with disabilities are normally perceived as people who require charity. However, government has continued to recognize them as partners in economic development, as evidenced by the policies and opportunities government has put in place to improve their livelihood. The Zambia Federation of Disability is complementing government efforts by linking financial institutions provided by the government and public sector interested in growing their business.
Today what we are doing is now we are linking them to financing institutions so that after learning on how to do business, now they can identify who can fund us, who can support us with finances, after which they can be able to now run their businesses. So right now we have invited different financing institutions, including CEC, talk of National Trust Fund for Persons with Disabilities, talk of also CDF representatives. They are in place to ensure that they can share with the group, they can share with persons with disabilities what resources are available for them.
The Citizens Economic and Empowerment Commission is urging persons with disabilities to apply for loans.
We do have thresholds at CEC that we are supposed to meet. For women and the youth, the threshold is 40%. For men, it's 15%. For persons with disabilities, 5%. These are the thresholds that will ensure that we have some form of benchmarks when it comes to our work. And so far, as CEC, we've been able to disburse close to 13 million kwacha to over 270 persons with disabilities since inception. And this accounts for 3% already, meaning that there's a deficit of 2% that we have to address. and if possible, beyond that 2%, to ensure that more persons with disabilities are able to have access to the empowerment cake. Bear in mind that disability is not inability. So we might have those thresholds on paper, but if more persons with disabilities are armed with information and knowledge on how to effectively participate in economic empowerment programs, CEC will then have more persons with disabilities being supported.
And persons living with disabilities in business are optimistic that financial assistance will help them improve their well-being.
They are teaching us different ways in which we can manage our businesses. So, for me, I'm here so that I can acquire more knowledge on how I can manage my business and how I can improve that business.
Ndifyo tulesambirira muri program kuntanshi tinakwata mu wikashi ubu uchushi wandi kuti bwapwa muri program ya business n'abana bandi kuti basambirira bwino kuti bayikala bwino ndikuntanshi kuti nayikala ko bwino.
Indeed, persons with disabilities have the potential to contribute to economic development. Reporting for ZANIS in Lusaka, Sharon Walia.
The news continues. The Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts says it has introduced various activities that allow digital growth in the country. Principal Information Technology Officer Miriam Katongo says the ministry has also created youth centers that bridge the gaps between technology and entrepreneurship in the digital world for economic transformation, especially among youths. The 9th Africa Think Tank Summit that has been running in Lusaka for the last 3 days has come to an end. In a joint communique, the delegates have agreed to, among other things, expedite the creation of a permanent mechanism that will strengthen national and regional committees to enhance the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
The 9th edition of the Africa Think Tank Summit has come to an end with delegates coming to an agreement in a joint communique. The joint communique has agreed, among other things, to expedite the creation of a permanent mechanism, strengthen the national and regional committees devoted to Africa Continental Free Trade Area implementation, and enhance capacity building initiatives.
Understanding the transformative potential of the AFCFTA in driving economic growth, fostering regional integration, and improving the livelihoods of African citizens. With a firm commitment to translating knowledge into actionable policies, we have engaged in fruitful deliberations and shared experiences and developed a set of actionable recommendations to accelerate the implementation of the AFCFTA. Take ownership of our narrative through a strategic emphasis on and investment in evidence-based, but also guides the formulation of decisions and policies. 2, foster synergistic collaboration and knowledge exchange among think tanks, research institutions, policymakers, and practitioners by instituting a continental platform dedicated to constructive dialogue, the exchange of insights, and the dissemination of exemplary practices and lessons acquired. 3, advocate for the development of openly accessible repositories and databases, streamlining the sharing and widespread circulation of research discoveries, policy synopsis, and exemplar practices related to the AFCFTA.
And Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Acting Director Foreign Trade, Langani Piri, has urged the delegates to commit themselves towards the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this summit, it is important to recognize that the journey towards implementing the CFTA is a long-term endeavor. The success of this agreement hinges on our collective commitment and sustained efforts. We must remain steadfast in our determination to overcome obstacles. adapt to changing circumstances, and learn from our experiences.
Meanwhile, Regional Network and Agriculture Policy Research Institute Executive Director Nalishebo Mibelo has thanked the delegates and other cooperating partners for the successful hosting of the summit.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank once again the government of the Republic of Zambia for hosting the 9th Africa Think Tank Summit. Let me thank ACBF through the Executive Secretary and also the board member who is here, right? Thank you, board member, for allowing the Executive Secretary to bring this event to Zambia. Let me also thank you, ACBF, for partnering with RINAPRI as your local partner here in Zambia to deliver this summit. I want to also thank the sponsors, and there are many. We've heard their names, and I'm not going to list them because I'm sure someone else will talk about them. But they are here in the room, some are on the banners. I want to thank you all, because you are too numerous to mention, for rallying your technical, financial, and organizational resources to deliver on a successful event.
This year's Think Tank Summit was being held under the theme Linking Evidence, Policies, and Practice to Support the Implementation of Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Reporting for ZANIS, Samuel Hangandu.
Lusaka Province Minister Shiu Mliata says government will revive industries that have collapsed in Kafue District. Ms. Mliata says a number of industries have collapsed, a situation which has impacted negatively on the economy of the district. The minister said this in a speech read on her behalf by Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi at the Kafue Constituency 50th Golden Jubilee celebration.
It is the 50th Golden Jubilee celebration for Kafue constituency. Residents from all corners of the district gathered at Kosa Stadium to commemorate this historical moment. Lusaka Province Minister Shiu Mliata was represented at this event by Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi.
While the constituency has grown and transformed throughout the years into a thriving and dynamic community that we are proud to be a part of today, Kafue has had its own challenges in the past. The collapse of a number of industries is one of the worst experiences Kafue has ever encountered in its history. And we pray and we hope and we shall do it as a New Dawn government. We shall ensure that these industries are revived.
Kafue Member of Parliament Miriam Chonya called for renewed commitment from all Kafue residents to build a better district for everyone.
Indeed, today is not just about celebrating our 50 years of existence as a constituency, but also an opportunity to think about how we can overcome the economic challenges that our young men and women are facing, and how we can put our concerted efforts together to tap into the underutilized opportunities.
Meanwhile, Kafue District Deputy Council Chairperson Justin Singoi said the council has received so much support from all stakeholders.
I would be failing in my duty if I don't acknowledge and appreciate the tremendous and relentless support that we are continuing receiving at the council from the New Dawn government of His Excellency, the President Hakainde Hichilema.
Kafue District Commissioner Maurice Hikapulwe called on residents to remain united as the district celebrates 50 years of existence.
Today, we are celebrating our 50 years of existence. Guest of honor, it's a very great day for us. It's a day we are going to dance.
The celebration is being held under the theme 50 Years of Parliamentary Democracy in Kafue. Irene Nganga, ZANIS, Kafue.
We end the news with that report. Here's a reminder of the top stories. President Hichilema wants Saudi Africa Summit to translate into economic benefits. honey industry to boost economic growth. "17 inmates graduate with degrees." And Kafue constituency celebrates Golden Jubilee. With that, we end the news. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Amos Zulu. Enjoy the rest of the programming. Bye-bye.